Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the happy toast, which I think is adorable and awesome and super cute, and it goes perfect with the happy bacon we made the other day. So, got a nice little sandwich going on. There are, of course, other parts that will be coming, so I think it's fabulous. I hope you do too. And I thought as well that besides making just a piece of toast, you could change the coloring and maybe do like a piece of bread with jelly or something like that too. Or you could even, because the design is the same on both sides, you could like do one side with the happy face and then like normal bread and the butter, and then on the other side you could change it and do like the jelly or something else, and then just put the happy face on the other side as well. So it could be like dual-sided depending on what you wanted, which I thought would be a cool idea. And if you didn't have enough bands for the center for both sides, then you would have, you could split it up a little bit too, so that would work well. So, bands wise, it's a 180 on the inside, 202 are on the outside, and then 1 to 3 black bands depending on what you do for the eyes. I use 7mm pony beads, and then the little butter is 13. I use mango, but yellow or whatever color you want. And then 2 bands for the cheeks. So, super cute. So we'll get started. And first we'll go through the eyes and the cheeks. If you're going to use a wrapped band for the eye, if you don't have any beads, then it's just 1 band, whatever color you want the eye to be. Put it on your hook, wrap it around once into the figure 8, grab both bands, wrap them around again, and then pull through 2 bands what'll be the inside color of your toast. Just slide them to the middle, like that. And then the cheeks are made the same way. I'm just going to go through the cheeks, because it is made the same way. Whatever color you want your cheek to be, on the hook, wrap it around into the figure 8, grab both bands, get them on there again, and then pull through 2 bands the color of your toast in the middle. And then if you're going to use a bead, you're going to want something that you can thread your bead with. I'm using a piece of craft wire, but you can use twist ties, string, thread, floss, anything like that, that you can get into a V shape. And take 2 bands, the color of the inside of your toast, put it in the middle, and then thread it through the center of your bead. Like that. Take out your tool, and then you have a beaded eye band. So you need 2 of these, or 2 of these, and then you would need 2 of these. And of course, if you wanted to do double face, then you would want double of those, so that'd be up to you. And this is on 1 loom, like usual. So first, let's see, in this one I use brown on the outside, and then this is a cheap tan color, light coffee color from Loom bands. This is Wonder Loom Brown. This time I'm using burgundy for the outside from Rainbow Loom, and caramel for the inside from Rainbow Loom as well. Just have a little bit different piece of toast. So I'm going to kind of work in the middle. We do work on 14 pins, so kind of in the middle area somewhere. And what we're going to start with is taking the inside color of our toast, and we're going to drop 5 bands just along the side. We only go, like if we put our 5 bands on here, we only extend out 1 pin beyond that, so just kind of keep that in mind for where you want to start on your loom. So 2 bands up 5 pins on both sides on the inside color of your toast. You could also just make it white inside for happy slice of bread, or whatever color, maybe wheat bread. So like that. Then what we're going to do is lay 6 X's right on top of this, and we're going to start a pin behind over here on the left and make a long cross with 2 bands all the way across the other side. And this is the outside color. And we'll go right over the top of that, outside color. And then starting where we left off, we'll do a long cross again. And cross that one. So we've made 2 X's, so we need 4 more. So 1, 2. So starting where we left off, cross. And just keep going up. And then 1 more. So like that. So you have your 5 bands dropped on the inside, and your X's extend 1 pin beyond that. And then you have 6 of our X's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then it's still outside color, 2 bands. Make a cap band on the end on the left side, wrapping around 1 time, and then on the other side as well, wrapping around 1 time with 2 bands in your outside color. So what we want to do is loom this top portion out. So we're going to start on the side that is underneath of the other band. So go in through the cap band on the right. Make sure you hold it down, grab those 2 bands, and pull them all the way back across the loom to the other side. And come over the cap band on the other side, grab those 2 bands, and pull them all the way across to the other side. And then we'll just keep repeating that down the loom. Whatever band is on the bottom is the one you'll do first. Grab the other side and do that. Just keep going down. Like that. So then push your bands down. So now you're still using the outside color. We're going to lay a row around, but we're going to do some single banding in here as well. So we start down here. It's 2 bands across the bottom, then 2 bands up the right, and 2 bands. And the next 2 spots will have 1 band, so 1 and 2. Then we'll do 2 bands around to right here, and then we'll do the single again. So 2 bands, all the way around. So here's the first spot with 2 bands, and 2 bands in the next one, and then 1 band again. And the next 2 spots, and then 2 bands in the last ones. So just right here on these ones, right in the middle, those will be single bands. Everything else is doubled. So now for flipping, we're going to flip the end. It's 4 bands, and the second pin down, 4 bands, and the third one will be 4 bands. Then we're not going to flip the middle. We're going to leave that one alone, and then skip over to the next one, be 4 bands, and then all the way to the end. So we're not flipping the middle pin, and we're not going to do that on the other side as well. So first 3 pins will flip, skip the middle, and then do the last 3. Those are all 4 bands to flip over. Then push your bands down. And we're going to do the exact same thing again for the row. So 2 bands on everything except for these middle ones right where we haven't flipped before. So 2 bands, 2, 2, then 1, 1 again, and 2 to the end, 2 right there, 2, 2, and then single again. So 1 and 1, and then 2 bands to the end. Like that. Now we're going to go around and we're going to flip all the bands, almost. So starting at the end, before, we'll have 4 again, then 3, and then right here in the middle we're going to flip the bottom 4, and then 3, and then 4 again, and 4. And on the other side, bottom 4 up here, bottom 4, 3, 4 here, and then 3 and 4 to the end. And push your bands down. Now what we're going to do is puff out those spaces that have the bands underneath of them that we dropped. And how we do that is just go and we'll grab both the bands that we dropped down on this pin. You're going to go in through the bands on the pin, hook the dropped ones, pull them up like you're going to loom them, put both ends on your hook, and then what's on the pin comes off, and what's on your hook goes back onto the pin. And we just repeat that for all the places where there are dropped bands. So in through, hook, and replace. Just do that for all 10 of them. That's one side, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So like that. Now we're going to do a row that's going to be just up each side. We're not going to put anything on the end right here. So first we're going to start with a transition band, because now we have to make the edge that'll be around the inside of the toast. So you can make them on your fingers. It's just putting one band on top of the other, kind of grabbing the top band from the bottom and grabbing the bottom band from the top. And then before you pull tight, which would make a knot, you kind of fold them onto each other. So I have a half and half band now. So I'd start with my dark color on the outside, which is the color of the outside of my toast, and the light color will go towards the inside. Now if you can't get those on your fingers, you can make them on the loom just as well. Doesn't matter which color band you put first. Just lay them across from each other. Then you go in and you'll grab whatever band is on the bottom, pull it back towards itself, and then you go in through the little teardrop diamond shape right here, grab the other band and pull it back towards itself. So now we've made a transition band that way as well. I'm just going to leave that here because I'll use it in a moment. But then so we have a transition band, and then the next spot, inside color. So I'll say that on the end here will be the outside colors, and then in the middle now we'll be working with the inside colors. So it'll be 2 inside. The next 2 spots will be a single of your inside color. Then we have 2 of your inside color. Then you want another transition band. You'll put the light side, or whatever color is your inside color, towards the inside, and the other end will be to your outside color. So we repeat that same thing on the other side. So transition band first. Lining up the colors. Next spot will be 2 bands of your inside color. And a single band, another single band, and then 2 bands, and then another transition band. Like that. So now what we're going to do, we're going to leave the end. We're going to flip the second pin with 4 bands. We're going to flip the third pin with the 4 bands. We're going to skip the middle and then do the fifth pin with the 4 bands, and then the 6th pin. So basically the 2 kind of in the middle on each side. And we'll do that on the other side as well. Skip. Almost. So that's what we should have now. We didn't flip the ends, and we didn't flip the middle. So go ahead and push those down. So now we're going to do another row. On the end, be 2 bands, outside color, then a transition band, and then once again we're going to put single bands here in the middle. So first 2 bands, inside color, then single, single, double, and transition. Oops. And the end will be 2 of your outside color, then another transition band, then 2, 1, 1, 2, and a transition band again. Like that. So now we're going to flip over everything again except for the middle we're going to leave. So on the end here we have the basically the cap band, or the other half of the transition band from last row, That's going to go over, and then the bottom 4 will go over. And the next one will be 4 bands, and then 3 bands, skip, 3 bands, 4 bands, and then on the end it'll be those 2 transition bands from last row, and then the bottom 4. And we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. So the 2 transition, and the bottom 4, bottom 4, bottom 3, skip, 3, 4, and then the 2 from last row, and then the bottom 4. Like that. So I'm going to do another row, pretty much just like we just did. Except for on the end here now, we want to do a doubled band. So 1 band wrapped around once, and that'll stretch across the bottom. Then we have our transition band. And it'll be 2 bands and 1 band in the next 2 spots. So 1, 1, then 2, then another transition band, then again on the end it'll be a doubled band, so 1 band wrapped around once, that, and another transition band, then 2, 1, 1, 2, and a transition band. Trying to figure out a way to fit in a little story or something, but there's a lot to say just to kind of keep it in order. Alright, so we have, looks like this now. So on the end would be 4, and then 4 again, and then 3, and then in the next spot we have our middle ones where we were skipping some. So what we want to do is we want to leave the top 4 bands, which are the kind of 4 single from last couple rows. But we're going to flip the bottom 6. So it's 2 singles and then the bottom 4. And 3, 4, and 4. I see you doing that. And then 4, 4, 3, and the bottom 6, so we'll leave the top 4 bands. And 3, and 4, and 4. So did everybody see that Rainbow Loom is starting to sell something called the Luminator, which looks a lot to me like the Crazy Loom. I'm not sure why they're starting to sell it, since they've seemed to have success with the Rainbow Loom itself, and it's kind of weird to me, but it has an interesting name, I guess, so the Luminator. Alright, so I just kind of pulled up a little bit to loosen it up a little bit and push my bands back down. So now this time we're going to do a row all the way around. On the end it will be the doubled band, so 1 band doubled. And we'll do our transition. and then 2 throughout the middle until we need to do the transition band again. I'm still waiting for the other bands to go on sale. I don't know why. Just because right now some of the bands I can't really use. And it'll be a double band. If I was doing bracelets, then I'd have much more use for a lot of the bands, but with the Happy Foods, it's hard to change the colors too dramatically. Then we'll do the same thing down this other side, transition band, 2 bands, and then another transition band down here. I think it's just some kind of complex or something, because it's like when I first started to crochet, I'd go to the store and I'd be like, oh, I just need some purple yarn. Well, when I first started, I was using Red Heart yarn, and it's like they don't just have one purple, they have like 6 shades of purple, and that's just what they have right now because it changes when their lots change, and so it's like I leave the store with like 6 shades of purple because I can't just not have every shade. I don't know. Thankfully my husband understands. So now we're going to flip the bottom 4 all the way around, except for these ones right here will be the 3, so leaving 4 bands at the top. So 3. I shouldn't say it like that. My husband is very supportive of my crafting and stuff, and he wouldn't get mad anyways if I come home with this stuff. It's just like, I can imagine that most people will be like, you got how many of what and why and when are you going to use it, and alright, aren't they the same basic shade really? So yeah, my friends get that argument from their husbands. They're kind of jealous, but alright, so now we're going to do another row just like that we just did. So again, the doubled end, and the transition band, a little ahead of myself, and the 2 bands through the middle, transition band, then doubled band up here, transition band, and the 2 bands, I know I've never even used these, so I don't know why they're so stretched out. You know, twisty. It's very odd. Another transition band. Like that. So that'll be the flipping the bottom 4 all the way around. That. Push your bands down. Next is our eye row. So we're getting there. So you want your eyes, and then shortly afterwards you're for your cheeks. So on the end here, we're just going to do 2 bands, then the transition band, and 2 bands, the inside color, and our eyes are going to go right here. Like that, and 2 bands, and our transition band. Then 2 bands for the outside color, transition band, then 2 bands for our inside color along the bottom until we get to the transition spot. And then our transition. Like that. So then flip the bottom 4 all the way around. In fact, I went out today, I did a little craft shopping. I won't say that there probably were more bags for my craft shopping than there were for other things that we needed around the house. Oops. Push your bands down. This is going to be our cheek row. It's going to be exactly the same as the eye row, just that we're using cheeks. So 2 bands, outside color, and our transition band. And 2 bands, inside color, and our cheeks. I can tell this is going to be a very dark piece of toast. It's maybe to be like rye bread or pumpernickel or something. And 2 bands, and the transition band. And 2 bands for the outside color. Then our transition band. Then 2 bands of our inside color. Actually, I think it is pumpernickel that tastes good with, is it dill dip with cucumbers? I'll have to check that out. I can't remember. Usually serve it at Christmas. It's pretty delicious. Transition band. Like that. Flip the bottom 4 all the way around. It's always a little tricky at Christmas time making food because my mother-in-law is a vegetarian. Like vegetarian where you can't cut the same or cut meat items with the same knife or things like that, which is totally understandable. But I mean, it's like you have to really consciously think what you're doing when you're cooking so you don't cross-contaminate with the meat and the non-meat stuff. So we want to put the mouth on. So 1 band, whatever color you want your mouth to be. And take your hook, put it on the end of your hook, wrap it around once into that figure 8. And then these bands that are right between the cheeks on this pin, you're going to pull them up and off the pin slide down your mouth band and then put the bands back on the pin. Now we're going to do a row around, basically normal. 2 on the end, the outside color, transition bands, fill up the middle with your inside color, transition, 2 on the end. So that's my story about cooking. When I cook I usually clean up as I go, so at the end I don't have a horrible mess to do. My husband, on the other hand, dirties every pan in the kitchen that he possibly can. I think it's like some goal he has while he cooks. Transition. And I mean, I can't even figure it out. Like, we can make the same exact meal, but he uses like 10 more pans than I do. I don't even know what he does. Luckily he cleans it up, but it's just like, how do you do that? Like, we can both make spaghetti, and you know, I can make sauce from scratch and everything, and I can even make pasta from scratch, and he'd still use 10 times more bowls than me if he used it like out of the jar and out of the box. It's very odd. And a transition band. Just like that. And then flip the bottom 4 all the way around. He's a pretty good cook though, and he likes to cook, which is nice. So I don't have to cook all the time. Alright, push your bands down. Alright, so now we're going to do a transition row to switch between the inside color to the bottom color. The only part that we kind of have to do a little bit of extra work is in the corners on the front and back to get a better squared shape so we don't have anything bleeding over into the side. It's not super hard, but just takes a little bit extra. So we're going to make a transition band. And we need to have the inside color facing towards the inside of our toast. Like that. Then we're going to take an outside color, wrap it around this pin on the corner 1 time. Then we'll go in through that cap band, grab our transition band, and pull it back towards itself. So you can see we have the inside color right here, hopefully divided nicely down the middle right here. Then our outside color is all the way around the other outside. Then next is a transition band, or this row is all transition bands, it's just different angles that we place them. So transition, have the inside color towards the inside, transition again, another transition, transition. Just make sure you center them as best you can. Then another transition to the end. Make sure it's centered. And then once again, take your outside color and put a cap band on this pin wrapped around one time. Then go in through your cap band, grab that transition band and pull it back towards itself, and then try and center your colors so that the straight down, you have the light on one side, or in my case the light on towards the middle and the dark towards the outside. Then on the end, it's just two of the outside color. Now another transition band right here. Again, make sure your light color faces towards the inside. And again, put that cap band on this pin and the outside color. Stay. Then pull up that transition band through the cap band. Loom it back towards itself. Like that. Then transition bands all the way down to the end. I'll turn my loom a little easier for me. I suppose those bands could be all twisty because my son might have got into them. He likes to take all my bands and just kind of lay them all over on the loom and then poke at them with the hook. He thinks that's awesome. I guess it is, but you know what I'm saying. He's 3. So he's supervised, of course, while he's doing this, and he has a grand old time doing it. It's just that he's wasting my bands. But that's alright. He has fun. It's worth it. So transition all the way to the end. Put that cap band on that end pin. And then loom back the transition band towards the center. That, and then the end is 2 brown bands, or 2 outside bands. So all of your corners should have the cap band with the transition bands looped over towards the center of the design. And then all the other transition bands that have the light color on the inside and the dark color on the outside. Like so. So I'm going to go ahead and flip bands. On the end, it'll be the bottom 4. It should be the bottom 4, well, yeah, bottom 4 all the way around this time. We're not too far away from being done. I do have to show you how to make the butter, so don't run away. Although I'm sure you could probably figure it out yourself. I was tempted just to make it a big yellow flower to be all cutesy, but I suppose I should have the option for people to make a little butter patch on the guy. So now it'll be 2 bands of your outside color all the way around. No transition bands anymore. Yay! Oops. Ah yes, back to the figuring out what to make my mother-in-law when we have them over for holidays or Christmases. Most everyone else in the family, I think she's the only vegetarian, so we generally make sure we always have something that she'll eat. But she's kind of like a bird, and she doesn't eat much of anything anyways, but I always feel like I have to like make these extravagant plates for her to try in case she does want something to eat, and which I enjoy cooking, but then it's a lot left over. So it's just all the way around in the outside color. And we'll go ahead and flip the bottom 4 all the way around, except for on these pins you're going to have 6 bands to flip over. We just want to leave 4 bands all the way around. So on here where we had those transition bands that we looped back over, there's going to be 2 extra bands there. And again, if you try and pull these kind of straight out and over the pin, you'll have less likelihood of the half and half kind of bleeding over into the side. So again, there'll be 6 on this one as well. And 4. And the same thing on the front side. Then push your bands down. Loosen this up again. So push your bands down. And we're going to do one more row all the way around, and then we will be done with the laying of the bands. So 2 bands, outside color, all the way around. Well, the laying of the bands, so we have to make the butter, but that isn't so bad. I chose to make it detachable in case people wanted to change what they wanted to put on there. Like maybe you think you might want to have like the butter, but then maybe you think jelly would be cuter, so then you want to put the jelly on. But if they've attached it while you're looming, that's kind of hard to change. So unless you just cut it out, and then you don't have the option to put it back on if you change your mind again. So there we go, all the way around, and then again flip the bottom 4. I always try to think of little things like that, I guess. Like that. So now push your bands down. And we are basically going to braid the bottom. So how we will do that, look at these on the other side of the pin here. So I'm going to take my hook, I'm going to go in through one side, pull the bands off the pin, come over to the other side, grab those, and then pull them through the first set of bands on my hook. Just take your time so you don't lose anything, because there are 4 bands. I chose not to reduce it because it lost some of its shape. So now I picked up here first, then I came over and picked up over on the left. So now we're going to come to the right, pick up those bands, and I'm almost looping them before I even take them off the pin. So kind of a little bit more secure that way. Then I'll come over to the other side, which I always pull off. Pull that through. And come back to the right, Loop those, and to the left. Loop those. I'm just kind of smushing the toast back as I go. And then when you get closer to the end, make sure you hang on to, or try and hang on to the bands that are on the couple pins below, just because you might be more likely to pull it off. Like that. And then the last ones. So make sure you take your time, take it slow. And we'll take our couple of our outside bands, pull them through. All 8 bands. We don't really need to loop, we'll just loop them to each other. Make a little slip knot. And I go in through the side somewhere. Come up and grab those bands and just pull them down in through the toast as far as I can. It helps to kind of even out the bottom. Just let those fall back in. Or push them back in. Alright, so then it should be pretty good. Might have to fix some of your transition bands if they kind of went over farther than you liked. It should be pretty good since they're all fairly consistent up the side. And then up here along the top, if you go and you grab these rows and just kind of pull them out, that kind of helps get the little puffed bread appearance right up here. Do that on the other side as well. Like that. Put your center down. Super cute. I think my toast is a little dark to be. It's a little dark. Like so. Awesome. Adorable. Goes perfect with the happy bacon. So now I'll show you how to make the butter and how to attach it. So on the loom, whatever color you want your butter to be, and we're going to go kind of in just a little square, but we are going to double the bands. So 1 band, double, start down here on the right and go to the left, to the side, or to the left, then go up 2, doubled, then we'll go up 2 up the middle, doubled bands, then on the side over here we'll go up 2 doubled and then come back towards this point over here doubled. then we'll come back to the point. Like that. Now we'll take another double band. We'll just go right across the center. And then another one across the other side. Like that. And on this pin right here, we're going to put a cap band. Just one band, but we're going to wrap it around 4 times. We want it to be tight to match the banding of the rest of it. So like that. Now you turn your loom around, and starting in the cap band, we're going to grab the top 2 bands, which will go to the left, and then we'll loom all the way from the left and then up to the corner up here. So go in through, grab the top 2 bands, pull those back. You should still have the middle bottom, and then bottom 2 up, and then go through this band to grab the bottom 2 bands. Then come back to the middle, grab the bottom 2 bands, bring them up. Then you're going to go through the bands on both sides to grab the very bottom 2 bands and loop those up. Then come back to your cap band, grab the bottom 2 bands, loop them up, go through this band to grab the bottom 2, and then loom over to the left. And grab the very bottom 2 here. And I'm going to bring up a band right away just to tie it off. Just pull up a band and do a slip knot. And I'll start slipping off with my hook. And you should get a pretty nice little square pat of butter, or about as square as I can get it. So I'm going to take the tail, pull it down through a band kind of towards the inside, like that. But then we want to hide it a little bit more, because we're actually not going to use it because it's just basically in the way. So I'm just going to kind of start looping it through different things until the tail is well hidden. Just as long as you're not going onto the front side, it's fine. Like that. Sweet. Then we'll take some bands. 2 bands, we'll go through the back side. Just kind of pick a corner, go under a couple bands, pull 1 band through, and go to the other corner and do the same thing. So like that. Then we'll take our bread. You're just going to kind of line it up where you think you want it. And you'll go underneath some of the bands. I usually try to go kind of through the post, but not the row. And I'll show you in a second here what I mean, hopefully. If I quit snagging everything else. Here we go. Through a post and not a row. So again, kind of set it where you want it. Grab a band on one side, pull it through, grab the other band, and then do a slip knot. Then you line it up again, figure out where you want it to go. Grab a band, pull it through, and you grab the other one, do a slip knot, and you can kind of adjust these to, if you squished them. So then you'll take these and you'll just pull them in and hide them. It's not super hard, and if you want to take them off and change the colors, then it's pretty easy. Doop. Like so. I'll tuck these a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed Happy Toast, because it's awesome and adorable. I think it's great. It's nice and square. Looks good, and it's squishy still. It's not super dramatic, not like my turkey, but it's awesome still. So, but I want to thank you guys for watching. I definitely appreciate it. If you start making your own little breakfast or get a start on it, I would definitely like to see it. You can share it with me on my Instagram page, which is at Crafting Fantastic, or on my Facebook page, which is feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. And then, of course, subscribing to my channel would be awesome, so you know when I come out with new things. Trying to get as many as possible. I'm just kind of, I have a lot of requests, and I'm going to get to all of them. It's just, it's hard to get to all the requests all at once, but doing my best. Thanks again for watching. You know, I really do appreciate it, and I will definitely have more for you soon. So I hope you enjoy.